So can I resolve to include the supplementary reports in the meeting? One open supplementary, and it's on, the resolution is on page 4 of the supplementary agenda. Moved and seconded Jimmy. Put that. Those in favour please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed carried. Public participation, and we actually have two submissions, both of whom have been granted 10 minutes each, which is unusual in this forum because it's usually 5 minutes, because usually the longer ones go to the committees. But first I've got the Brainwave Trust. Andrea? Welcome. So if you come and speak here and make sure the microphones are on there with whoever.
Am I okay to sit? That's all right.
You can sit wherever you like of those seats.
Marvellous. Everybody can hear me?
We can hear you, and just so you're aware of the how it works, so you've got 10 minutes. Because this doesn't normally include questions, if there are any questions that people have, they will be included in that 10 minutes.
Okay, that's perfect. Thank you.
So we've broken all the rules on this one so far, so go for it. Go for it.
Kia ora koutou, ngā mihi mahana ki a koutou, ko tō mai tēnei ata. Warmest greetings to you. My name is Andrea Dahl. I am representing Brainwave Trust today, but at the end of last year, the Mayor very graciously came and spoke at a relaunch function for Brainwave Trust here in Christchurch. And I put it out there at that particular relaunch that I wanted to be able to deliver these presentations to vulnerable families across Christchurch, and it appears that we may have the funding to do that. So the purpose of me being here today is to find out from you which communities you think those presentations should be delivered to, and also to ask you for your support and potentially your advice on how we go about doing that. So in order to do that, I want to explain to you what Brainwave Trust is and what they do. How many of you are familiar with Brainwave Trust? Oh, good. Excellent. I asked some people coming in earlier and I found that very few were. For those of you who aren't familiar, in 1998, Dr. Ian Hassel, Leslie Max, who was an advocate, Ian Hassel was the Children's Commissioner, Leslie Max was an advocate for children and parenting, Judy Bailey, who is obviously the mother of our nation, and a woman by the name of Robin Fancourt, who was a paediatrician from Taranaki, came across some information and they decided that every single person in New Zealand needed to know this information. So that's how Brainwave Trust formed. We're an organisation who deliver education and information to people around not only the early years, so you've got a little bit of information in front of you about the early years and how important those are, but also about adolescent brain development. So for those of you who are managing adolescents or have managed or are thinking about that stage, we can help you with that. So that's kind of what we do. Okay. Now, how many of you, I'm not a brain scientist, I'm not a psychiatrist, I'm actually a police officer. That's what I do during the day. But when I came across this information, I decided that everybody I work with needs to know this. It's essential that they understand how brains work. So I went and I studied so that I could actually deliver this information. So are you familiar with your own brains? Do you know how they work and where all the bits are? And okay. So the bottom left picture on the screen up there shows the human brain. The one above it is actually the one I'm going to talk to, and it's a model that we use called the triune model that explains brain development. The brain grows from the bottom up and from the back forward. So when you're born, your brain stem is completely online. So you can breathe, your heart beats, your blood pressure works, all of those things that actually make us be able to survive work. Okay, but as we grow and as we develop, the cerebellum's the other little piece out the back there, that's to do with motor skills and also fine-tuning of some of the movements that we have. Our limbic system is the next piece. So if we look at the model at the top left, the brain stem, that's the bottom piece. If you think about a crocodile can lie on the bank, it can eat, it can drink, it can sleep, and it can create more crocodiles. Yep, that's basically what it does. All right, that's the brain stem, that's the function of the brain stem. If you move up to the limbic system is your emotion. So that's the emotional, your dog, that's a mammal. So if you add a brain stem and a limbic system, you get a mammal. So when your dog is so excited to see you when you come home at night, it's so excited, it's because it thought you died. Oh, they're back again and I love them so much. Okay, and then the next day, same thing. Because the dog doesn't have the next bit. The next bit's what humans have. We have a cortex. So, brainstem at the back, limbic system in the middle, cortex over the top, okay? And more specifically, the prefrontal cortex, the last piece to develop, this piece at the front here. Okay, that's the bit that does all of the decision-making, rationalisation, sequential thinking, all of those things, that's all prefrontal cortex. That's what makes humans. That's why we're so special, okay? That also gives us not only the ability to do lots, but also the vulnerability to be affected by much. So if you have a look at the baby, the picture of the baby on the right-hand side, we are born with genetic potential, DNA, okay? If you think about Mahi Drysdale and his wife Juliet, both strapping, tall, athletic rowers. They had a baby called Bronte a wee while ago. That baby has the genetic potential to be an amazing athlete, yes? If that child, Bronte, spends her life sitting on the couch, playing with her iPhone and doesn't move, she will not realise that genetic potential. So we're actually a combination of not only what we were born with, so this nature-nurture argument, but also what happens to us as we're growing up. That's the key part of the brainwave presentation. Okay, and this is why we've got this information. So up until 1990, we had no idea how the brain worked inside, other than through autopsies and ghastly experiments with people who'd been maimed by accidents. So what happened was we could look inside. You're born with 86 million brain cells, roughly. It's how they connect up. That's the important part. So the top right is actually a new thing called Brainbow. Now, Brainbow can give up to 100 different brain cells a different colour, and they can track and see what they're doing. This is the explosion of knowledge that's given us the information that we present to you. And everything that Brainwave presents to you is totally scientifically grounded and researched and peer-reviewed. So we won't tell you anything that we've just decided is a really cool idea. Everything we give you is really solid. Right, a baby when they're born, their brain is about 300 to 400 grams. It would fit in my hand. It's similar to a water bomb in consistency. That's why we have to be so careful with babies' brains. An adult brain is about 1,400 grams. How big do you think a 3-year-old's brain is? Just give me a guess.
800?
100?
800?
800? It's actually 1,000. Oh, sorry, not 3-year-olds, a 1-year-old. It's 1,000. How big do you think a 3-year-old's is? Somewhere in the middle? Let me show you. So it's actually not that much smaller than an adult brain, is it? If you have a look at the person beside you, have a look at the side of their head.
Surrounded by children.
And think of that on a 3-year-old's body. See why they fall over all the time? Okay, so when you look at 300 grams to 1,200 grams in 3 years, and particularly 300 to 1,000 in the first year, what it is that these 86 million brain cells, or billion brain cells, are talking and making connections. So it's this ridiculous amount of dendritic growth between the cells making connections. Now, as babies and as children, the way that works is we take everything in through our senses. So when we're hugged and cuddled and loved, we feel good, we grow healthy brains. Okay, it actually releases something inside us called oxytocin, which helps us grow healthy brains. So those connections that we make are good connections. We're connected up to feeling supported and loved and cared for. Okay, if we are in an environment that's frightening, where everything that happens around us is scary, we grow a brain that's concerned, and that actually goes back to that survival stuff. We don't have the ability to grow a brain that's thinking about the world, thinking about how we can create things, how we can make things. You know, children's play, it's really funny. We give them all of these different documents and things and these iPads to play with, and we give them created, already fixed toys. The reality is dirt is one of the best things you can give a kid. It's got texture, you can play with it, you can taste it. You know, all of those. That's actually how your brain grows. Your brain grows through experiences via your senses. This is really important. And when we look at how much our brain grows in those first 3 years, we need to ensure that the experiences that they have that develop that brain are the best ones they can. I need a video. I've actually need some assistance with this video. This is why I started doing this.
How long does it go on for?
It's only 3 minutes.
because you're already within 2 minutes of your closing time.
Cripes, this is so
it's because
hard,
you get
isn't it?
so excited.
I know.
It's lovely. Okay,
Okay, let me talk you through this.
Well, no, we'll let you do it. We'll let you do it. Yeah.
Thank you.
But she's got such a great brain.
Hate school. I'm dumb. I don't want to go home tonight. I'm in trouble. Yesterday I ran and hid. I stayed really still. Kids and teachers were all looking for me. When they found me, the teacher had a rage at me. She's always angry. Principal were mental too.
Put it in your hand. Come on.
Through the window I saw Dad's car drive into the school. I took off. I waited till it got dark because I thought Dad would be out, and then I walked home. No one was home. I left the back door open. I ate some baked beans, left some blankets and pillows under the house, then waited in the kitchen for him. Then I heard his car drive in. He drove angry. Then I heard him open the door, like, angry. Where are you, ugly little mongrel? I ran out the back door and hid under the house. He can't fit under there, but he stuck his angry face at the opening and said, "You made me look like a bloody idiot. What are you, stupid? You're like a dog hiding under the house. You'll have to come out sometime. You'll get hungry." He laughed, so I knew it was really bad. This morning when I went in to get my bag, he was asleep on the couch, snoring. Mum's gone at the moment, but she usually comes back. Mum tries to stick up for me. When they fight, I run and hide with the knives. I'm scared that she'll come home today and he'll still be angry. I heard sirens. I thought it was Mum in an ambulance. It's my fault Mum left. I'm always getting in trouble. I wish I could be smarter and make Mum and Dad happy.
It's never easy to watch that DVD. And I think for me as a police officer, that's the stuff that I deal with. Those are the brains that I've got to deal with. Those are the brains in front of me with the children that we deal with. And then when we add to that the earthquakes, what actually happens with stress, this brain's response to stress, is that we release a substance called cortisol, and we do that fight or flight stuff. Well, during the earthquakes, we had periods of time where we didn't know when the next one was. We're in a constant state of alert. That's actually toxic to our brains. And the thing that makes stress tolerable is the controllability of it. Could we control the earthquakes? No. The predictability, could we predict them? No. And the support from others to manage those feelings. Well, the reality was that most children during those earthquakes didn't have very much adult support to manage their feelings because we were all managing our own. We were all dealing with ourselves and a whole pile of other stuff as well. So we actually have a generation of children who are coming through who have struggled, who have had lots of stress in their lives. And if you look up here, our brains have this thing called plasticity. We grow brains to deal with the world we find ourselves in. And so what I want you to think about as adults is we need to look after the children. These children who are stressed, these children who are reacting badly, who don't have those coping mechanisms, we have access to our prefrontal cortex. We can calm ourselves down. We can manage that in an adult, sensible way. Why overreact to these children? This is the stuff I need to get out there. This is the stuff I want to share with all of my colleagues, with everybody who works with children, and I want to help those who are actually in our communities to understand this information. We don't only do early years, we also do adolescent years. So I've given you some information, I've given you my card. If there's anything at all that you think you could give me some advice or some help or some assistance as to how I might do this, we're about to plan a project, please help. 10 minutes?
Yeah, close. Thank you, Andrea. It was a great presentation.
Thank you.
But just because you're being live streamed and people can access this at any time, you want to just tell anyone who's listening or watching how they actually get in touch with you? Because they haven't got your card.
The easiest way for them is actually through the Brainwave website. Brainwave have a Facebook page and they have a website. If you just Google Brainwave, you'll find them. Right. There's plenty of information actually on the website and also on the Facebook page. It's very, very thorough.
And those presentations are available to any community that feels like they want
Yeah,
them? Yep.
absolutely. We're really happy to deliver them.
Okay, awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Very good presentation. Thank you very much indeed. And Matt? So the 10 minutes is sort of flexible to 12, but there are only 3 seats, so it's probably just easier if we understand that there are a lot of people. If you all want to stand, you're very welcome to do whatever you like, but you may find it more comfortable
For
sitting.
time, they might all stand behind me and then just go one after the other. That's all right.
Oh, are they all speaking?
Yeah.
Oh,
all
right,
speaking.
okay.
So,
right.
Namihiki Koto, Ko Matt Waters, aho. Thanks for listening to us. This is the presentation from the Community Information Hub pilot project. What we know is that pre-existing community connectors and community infrastructure support resilience, make resilient communities. The Information Hub project has been running for about 18 months so far. I've been asked to run the project by the Ananui Community Trust. This is Rachel, my manager, beside me. She'll be speaking a bit later. One of the things that, the 4 things that we really wanted to do over the second part of the project was increase knowledge and connection with and between members of the neighbourhoods that the information hubs are in, improve understanding by neighbourhood and community members of the strengths and assets as well as the vulnerabilities within the neighbourhood, increase awareness by community neighbourhood members about how to access the services they needed, and support communication specific to neighbourhoods. We've had 12 organisations involved. They've each had the opportunity to apply for 2 grants. One was a neighbourhood planning grant and one was a newsletter grant. Some applied for both, some applied for one. The people that are here behind are going to talk a minute each about what they've been doing with each of those grants and how we've been working together. The information in your packs will supplement what they're going to speak about, and we're going to try and stay in time. So, Littleton Information Centre, Project Littleton.
Hello there. I'm just going to talk about the project we had, and it actually began with yourselves, with the LTCCP, articulating that you wanted to form a community partnership with the Littleton Time Bank. So we used our neighbourhood planning grant through this project to get that process happening. So it all started by a series of conversations, both with council staff and with our community. And one of the first outcomes of this project is up on the slide up there, and you'll see, you might know Joan Blatchford on the left, who's the community governance team leader at Littleton Mount Herbert community area. They have joined the Time Bank. So together, the Time Bank are exploring ways with Joan and her team and others as to how the Time Bank and the council can work together. The second part of that project, we identified, the community and Joan and a group of people, that the swimming pool was something that we should focus on. You created a brand new pool. Our community wanted to use it more. So with this project, we identified that we could have Time Bank lifeguards. So the council has earned time credits for training 8 members of our community to be lifeguards. And that, now, they're all trained, and as of this Saturday, the pool's going to be open for an extra 2 hours a day by the Time Bank lifeguards. So it's been a great project, thank you.
Kia ora tātou, I'm Robin Arnold and I'm here to speak for the Sumner Bays Union Trust. Part of the money was put towards a community directory for Redcliffs. It's really important at the moment for us to reconnect with the services that are actually available currently, as things have changed a lot over the last 5 years. Also speaking on behalf of the Bridge to Rocks Time Bank. The timing of this funding was immaculate with the 10-year anniversary of Littleton's Time Bank, the founder of Time Banking coming and speaking, Edgar Khan. The Bridge to Rocks Time Bank is in startup phase and the funding went towards branding and marketing. When you receive funding, it sets a journey, and that journey for us was really about getting clear about who we are, what we look like, who our community is. The exciting part of that was the engagement and the ownership that our community is taking with that increased professionalism. Thank you.
Kia ora everyone, I'm Linda Rutland, I'm from Mount Pleasant Community. We didn't really have time to work on this, but we grabbed the money because it was there. But anyway, and we had a community meeting with our street coordinators. We've got a network of street coordinators, and out of that meeting came an action which was devise a community directory, which I thought was dead boring. But anyway, because I thought everything's on web, so why do we need a paper directory? But anyway, I did it. As soon as it went out, I got all this feedback coming back saying, why don't you put this in, why don't you put that in? And everyone sort of took ownership of it. So I can see now it's going to be a great tool that we can do annually. And we can even do things like publish our own community plan in it, and show the community what we intend to do for the next year. And it's just, I think it's a great organising tool. The other thing I just want to say is this project in itself is fantastic. We're working right across the east, and I have to say that we were probably the most affected communities, and it's been awesome to be working together from rich or poor suburbs. And I just really want to commend the Aranui Community Trust for bringing us all together. Thank you.
Hello everybody, I'm Erica from the Sumner Residents Association. This project has been unique and has afforded us the opportunity to work with amazing humans. In the way of community development, we've used the funding for a newsletter and 2 brochures, and that's really made a difference. We've had an exciting events held during the neighbourhood week, and we had 2 events and barbecues. This enabled us to connect with local residents in Sumner. What do they want? What do they see for the future of the association, and how would they like to see their suburb in the future? So thank you to Aranui for affording us the opportunity.
Hi there, Jane from South Brighton. We also put together a community directory. The main thrust of what we did, however, was to get out into our neighbourhoods. We're a reasonably new group, so we ran a series of neighbourhood barbecues that people in our neighbourhoods actually hosted themselves, invited their neighbours. Had 3 main purposes. We got lots more information about who we are and what we do, and also resources for our community out there. We got to identify some of the more isolated, maybe elderly people in our community that we can then focus our attentions on. And the third thing was we got some key people who put their hands up to host those barbecues, who are now becoming key people in our community. In terms of working with this group, it was fabulous. What I love is that we had really shared aims and purposes, but in terms of implementation and delivery, different ways of doing it, and we actually know as the people in our communities the best way to deliver. Challenge to traditional funding ways of doing things, I really like it. The second thing is we now have a collective voice. We're all here talking to you. We have a strength that comes with that. And we're hearing a lot about participatory governance and all these kind of words coming around. Well, this is some of the strength that we can build in terms of the community voice side of that equation, so I think it's brilliant. Thank you.
Kia ora everyone. I'm Sylvia from Renew Brighton. As you know, New Brighton's a super engaged neighbourhood with heaps and heaps of things going on. We actually identified 170 community groups in New Brighton, so it's pretty pumping. And to keep all of that information in one place and to let the residents know what's going on, we've started a website. So it's called New Brighton Online, and if you search that, you'll find it. This is the illustration from the website, so we had a designer create this. The website's as much about sharing information as it is changing the perception of New Brighton as a really diverse and exciting neighbourhood. So that's what that illustration was about. Yeah, so that was what this money contributed towards, as well as creating an awesome group of friends, really, and people supporting each other to do our work. So, thank you.
Good morning, Linda Burdekin from South Shore Residents Association. Our funding, we were looking at what we needed, and basically we have nowhere where people can meet. We needed somewhere to set up our tent and talk to our community. So we used our funding to buy a tent, or more to the point, a couple of gazebos, chairs, tables, everything that we could set up to make a mobile meeting place anywhere along our streets, locality, onto the estuary, onto the beach. And it's all mobile. We run power cable, leads into people's houses, or if necessary we have a generator. So there's also has a dual purpose in that we can run a TV, computers, we can charge up batteries if we have any kind of emergency. So we have somewhere we can get out to people and it works really well. We've had a range of things from perhaps 20, 30 people up to just before Christmas. We had 90 people gathering where we just set up our tent and our signs. So that's been fantastic. It's all mobile, all fit in the back of a station wagon, and it's something that can be borrowed by the others in our group, and that's just been fantastic that we've got that support, and we now know so many other groups doing really interesting things, and we can share that information and get out to our community. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Paddy and I come from Parklands, and our project you've got in front of you in the folder, the background to it originally was to have a look at our own suburb where we feel that the whole demographic has changed. We're becoming slowly but surely a suburb of home renters and not homeowners, and there was all the houses have been filled, but a lot of people coming into our community who didn't identify with Parklands as a community. They identified with where they'd come from, and we felt they were just coming home to watch TV, sleep and eat and head off to work somewhere else. So the idea of the community directory really was to try and get an opportunity to engage with these people, and so we did it in a hard copy form and we hand delivered it to people, and when we visited, if they were home, we talked to them about Parklands, how long they'd been here, what their future was. The interesting thing about the demographic is we've just shifted because our house has been knocked down, and we're in a block of 5 beautiful homes, only one of which is owned, and the rest of us are renting. The school, the majority of new entrants in the school last year at Parklands were not first year, but advanced students, second, third year, so that's new people coming in. An interesting fact about our community, someone thought our library was a pub and had never gone in there, and we kept getting asked, do you have a supermarket? And we asked about the cover, which is quite interesting. We thought we'd put a picture of some community place. We asked the community, what would be a picture that would tell you that this is Parklands? And they said the helicopter park with kids playing on it. Well, you've never got problems finding kids playing on our helicopter park. So in answer to the end bit, I guess, we delivered it to 3,000 homes. We gave the library 100 so they could distribute to people who were perhaps coming back in to the suburb. They've now had 308. They're going out like hotcakes, and we're now starting to realise that a lot of people from outside Parklands come and shop there, which is good. Errors and omissions, we made 4, and they were minor. We've had plenty of positive feedback, and we've had 6 requests for inclusion in the next edition. And I guess it's better to do something imperfectly than to do nothing flawlessly, and we've filled an obvious need. Thank you very much.
Oh, right, okay,
So we're now 3 minutes over time, but I'm assuming that you want to say...
I'm really
something.
sorry
No,
about this, but this is showing some real good
No,
connectedness.
it's brilliant
and,
stuff. That's why I haven't interrupted
well, funding,
anything.
but this is our video that we were able to do through some of the funded money, and it's about just showing people the key big massive projects that are happening in Aranui this year. So thank you for letting me show that.
Obviously, we're here for social housing purposes. So what we're trying to do here is replace old and for new builds. This is one of our sites that we've got going on at the moment in Aranui. As you can see, there's plenty of action. This is our first site that we're doing. The guy started here probably 4 or 5 months ago. It's a great design, so it doesn't take long once you get the groundworks done to get houses up here. So we're actually adding warm and dry homes. They'll be garaging, they're modern. I think they'll engage with the community, they'll bring the community in. The layout and the design just will embrace and encourage people to come in. So this site will be completed in March 2016. We will have tenants going in. You've got a better layout, you've got warm and dry homes. You've got a good community complex design. So, you know, it will feel like a community of good like houses together.
the biggest initiative is the development and the build of the new campus school. It's now called Hayata, so it's really nice to have a name to put to that. Because our new school will be facing the east, Hayata is the description for the early rays of the sun. So it's been consulting with the community, working with them. The school will be a year 1 to 13 campus, which will open in 2017. It'll improve the learning opportunities for the community. So I think it will offer a style of learning that the East has not seen before.
We're building back a new multi-use community centre. So from some of the tragic consequences of the earthquake, we've seen something positive come out for Aranui, and that'll be the reopening of this new facility in the middle of 2016 next year.
Sport and physical activity have a number of functions in society. They allow participation, health and fitness, pride, allows people from all backgrounds to excel. The Aranui community have got a strong history in this, and it's our job to work with the community to provide some facilities and to provide some other community infrastructure.
There'll be people having their celebrations here with whānau. There'll be local community groups coming together. It really is a multi-use facility that's taken on board all of the views of the local community. We've had a really good input from all local groups to making sure that what we're building here meets the needs of everybody, both now and into the future.
We think the Information Hub kind of process has got real legs. There's a number of recommendations that come out of it. Some of the key things are we want to continue to meet. We want to continue to formalise involvement with local government and central government and citywide social service providers with this growing Information Hub network. We want to continue to strengthen links and also an equity and equality of communication from those agencies across our Information Hub. And we want to continue to develop a systematic way that we receive and put out information to our local communities as well as we continue to work together. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. And thank you all of you, not just for an excellent presentation, but for everything you're doing in your communities. I mean, it's an amazing array of talent that's standing before us. Stunning. Thank you again. But just do you want to do it through the community committee so that you have lots of time for lots of questions? Because there will be, there would be 100 questions if I open. We struggled to find a forum to be able to present properly to you. Yeah, no, this was it. So this was fine. But then on an ongoing basis, when you want specific things, Andrew's committee?
Or I'm assuming that you already have contacts with the community boards in your areas. You are.
Yeah.
Yeah, given that this is over a number of areas, I think it would be great if we could get a regular dialogue with the Community Housing and Economic Development Committee. I chair that committee and certainly would welcome an initial meeting so that we can get that communication underway.
Great.
Okay. Thank you all very much for a really interesting presentation. Both of them, actually. Thanks, guys. We've got this agenda. Oh. I know. No petitions. Akura Wairiwa.